Advent, Advent, Advent. Advent is a church season directly before Christmas, during which we await the coming of Christ. Hold up. Did you just say waiting? I'm tired of waiting. Well, the waiting that we do in Advent is a special kind of waiting. It is a hopeful waiting, a reflective waiting, an expectant waiting, as we prepare the world for the birth of Jesus Christ on Christmas and his return in his second coming. And this idea that Advent is a season of waiting for Christ can be gleaned from the name itself. Advent comes from the Latin adventus, meaning coming or arrival. Then we see waiting in the fact that Advent lasts 4 weeks, paralleling the 400 years between the prophet Malachi, the last book in the Old Testament, and the prophecies of John the Baptist, who prophesied Jesus' coming just before his arrival. 400 years of waiting! Indeed, 400 years of waiting, silence, and preparation. Unless we forget, while we talk about Advent as a season of waiting, that Advent as a season of waiting is directly tied to Advent as a season of hope. And we can have assured hope that Christ will come again because our history shows us that Christ has come before. You see, in Advent, we remember the covenant made between God and the Hebrews that they would be freed from slavery. We remember the promise that God made with the Israelites that they would be delivered from the wilderness into the promised land. In Advent, we remember that God promised through Mary and the prophets the coming of a Messiah. And in Advent, we remember that Christ did come, bringing good news to the oppressed, binding the brokenhearted, freeing the captives, comforting those who mourn, restoring ruins, and creating a new covenant between God and God's people. And the great part about this is that we can actively wait during this Advent season in our own homes. This season, we can daily lament the injustices of this world. We can create an Advent calendar, make a Jesse tree, sing Advent songs, or my personal favorite, create your own Advent wreath and weekly reflect on the symbolism of the candles of hope, peace, joy, and love. Ultimately, Advent is a season of waiting and hope as we prepare the world for Christ's coming through reflecting on the promises which have already been fulfilled and the vision of what the world could be in Christ. So do not sit idly by, but rather consider this season an invitation to participate in making heaven on earth a reality. Happy Advent and God's blessings.